Now let me just go over a few of them. The A's trade, that's great for the Athletics. The Athletics have traded Mason Miller and JP Sears to the Padres for uh Leon DeVries, your Brandon Nats, right-handed pitcher Henry Baez, and right-handed Yaron Nunez. This is great because you see a lot of teams with, especially the Athletics. We see this with like a lot of selling teams recently. Like they have, like they're in the middle of the rebuild and they have really good pieces to get really good prospects. But because they think, oh, we're not going to sign them anyway, they think that they're not valuable. These sellers do, and then they trade them away for like nothing. You see that with a lot of things. The Tigers used to do that. They did that with Justin Verlander, and I know that Miller has a lot of years of control on him, but to get what they did, that's insane. You see, sellers are getting a lot of value. Last year, the Marlins got a bunch of top prospects for their relievers. Last year, the Blue Jays got a bunch, or the Angels got a bunch for, or the Astros gave up a bunch for Yusei Kikuchi to get from the Blue Jays. And you're seeing these sellers. They used to just sell these guys for nothing, but now they're getting these top-notch prospects that are top 100 in baseball that can help build teams' futures. You see with the Nationals what they did with Juan Soto, and I kind of like that. They're not just gonna let the big market teams bully them and get whatever they want. They're demanding top prospects, but even if the Athletics are just like everybody else demanding top prospects, they aren't just getting top prospects, okay? They are taking it to the next level. Like you'd expect them, even if they are like doing what other teams are doing, getting a lot when they sell guys, to get a good haul. But I think even for the inflated sellers market that there is today, and these selling teams getting a lot for what they're trading, the Athletics still overachieved. They got the number 3 prospect in all of baseball in shortstop Leone DeVries. They also got a bunch of pitchers. They need pitchers, and the Padres, they're doing what they always do. I think because they got 2 people, it's a good trade because giving all that away, your future for, even though your future, giving away your future for a reliever, and that might not make you a World Series contender right away, and especially because they have all these aging guys, like Manny Machado's not going to stay good forever, and Dylan Cease is rumored to get traded. So just giving up all those guys just for Sears alone is not smart because I feel like mortgaging the future, because this is the future. This is a lot of, you see this here. This is a lot of aspects for if it was just one guy. Giving up that much of the future for a guy, a reliever on a team that's a playoff contender, but they're still third in the wild card and they're not going to catch LA. I don't think that makes them a World Series contender. Now, what makes the trade good for the Padres too is they also got JP Sears, a good starter. If you get a good starter in your bullpen, a good starter in your rotation, and an elite bullpen arm, man, now that is good. That's amazing. He instantly becomes their number 1 prospect though. It's just really smart of them. And yeah, this is a really, let's look at JP Sears stats. JP Sears, he might be a bullpen arm. I might be mistaken. Let's see. He's 11-2. He has 6 innings. Wait, no, that's just the game log. He's 7-9 this year. He has a 4.95 ERA, 4.95 whip. Okay, maybe it's not the best starting guy. Maybe they gave up just a little bit too much. But I think if you're the Padres and you're trying to build for the future, even after like all these guys that you have on contract are gonna expire, getting 2 people that you can maybe keep around is smart. I do think they give up just a little bit too much, but if Sears can be good, then that's huge. You see what he did over here with his limited starts. And obviously, like I said before, mortgaging the future on an, I don't think the Padres are World Series contenders for just these 2 guys. I think it's a bit too much, but again, if you're wanting to go all in, it's the Padres way now. If you're confused by what I'm saying, I think that the Padres gave up a little bit too much for these guys. It's not going to make them World Series contenders, even though Mason Miller is elite. But the fact that they got 2 players, maybe Sears works out, and they got Mason Miller, I think that kind of saves it a little bit. Plus, the Padres are a team that's trying to save for the future, even though I think it's important. And the A's got a bunch, like, even if the A's are cheap and they won't pay, which I think they might in Las Vegas, I think that if any of these guys come up and good for them, that's like 5 or 6 years of good baseball. Maybe they can make it to the playoffs. That's like huge for the A's. And you hate to see Mason Miller go, but I think that's a big a really good return. I'd say it's a win for the Padres if they go on a playoff run, or with JP Sears helping, or if they make another trade for this. I think it's a win for the Padres if they make another trade. Good trade, though. Really good trade, getting some top 100 prospects. Man, I think the Mariners, it's good that they're going for it. If they re-sign Suarez, I think it's a good deal because Suarez, again, I feel like these teams that are making big moves, they're not World Series contenders just by getting one guy. But I feel like if they re-sign Suarez and he can be a good piece for the future, even though he's a little old, I think that's good because I think a power hitter like him who's been good for a while and the hometown fans love him, I think that's a good thing for the Mariners. It's a good move. And I don't mind if they give up a top 100 prospect, just don't give up a top 10 prospect. I just need to see. Let's see. Ooh, the Blue Jays got Tanner Bieber. This is a trade again, editor. The last one is also a trade. Go back to the Suarez thing. The Blue Jays they overpaid again. Giving up your number 5 prospect for Bieber. How good is Bieber? I know the Guardians needed to sell. It's another failed era in Cleveland. It's terrible for the Cleveland fans, but you had to do it. They were really struggling, but trading away, you have to trade away your pitchers, even though that's the strength of their team, and it sucks to see them let go. Like, you have to let go of your pitchers because you don't have any trade bait at hitters besides Steven Kwan. But I think just give them a prospect hitter to look forward to. Yeah, it hasn't pitched much this year. How many innings has he pitched this year? He has pitched 12 innings. Yeah, yes, that's Blue Jays gave up way too much. What? Why didn't the Tigers get Suarez? I saw this tweet. It was like the Tigers don't want to trade Suarez because of their pressing needs in the bullpen, and because like they don't want to give up a top 5 prospect. And I've heard countless reports that the D-backs wanted like a higher prospect, so buyers were not willing to like budge. But come on, from demanding a top 5 prospect to the best guy you get is the Mariners' number 9 prospect, which isn't terrible for a rental, but still one of the best hitters in the game. And they're like 6 games back in the wild card. I know they're selling, but still. I mean, getting something like this, maybe wanting to see him maybe get like a number 8 or number 7 prospect too. Maybe I'd want to see the D-backs get 2 top 10 prospects. That would be a little better, but around that range is what he should get, the D-backs should get. But you're forgetting that the seller's market is inflated and the D-backs have the best hitter, possibly the best piece on the trade market. And I feel like they kind of undersold compared to all the other things they could have done. This is probably what he's worth, but I feel like they could have done better based on how desperate teams are right now. I feel like the Mariners kind of sold, though. I don't think getting Sewell, he was really good, but I don't think getting Sewell is enough, especially if he's a guy who's not going to pitch till September. You're getting these guys to push for a 1 seed. Okay, obviously the Tigers want guys to push for a postseason World Series, but I think the reason why so much Tigers fans like really want and think that we're gonna go big at the deadline is because we were just in a slump. Yes, we won 4 in a row now, but that's besides the point. I think the main reason why so many Tigers fans think they should have gone big at the deadline is A, to get this team hot down the stretch and be good for the postseason, which is what the Sewell move is for, but also because they want to take the 1 seed in the AL. You want to see how your team does in the regular season, so then your manager knows what to play in the postseason too, and to see how he look, and to get that 1 seed away from the Blue Jays, getting bullpen help. If it wasn't for our bullpen, we would definitely be the 1 seed clearly right now. Our bullpen has lost us so much games. I think getting bullpen pitchers who can pitch right now is important. Braves fans were happy when he was gone. Twins fans said the same thing about Paddock, and he started good for us, so I don't know what to think about that. Yeah, I just think getting a guy like Sewell who's not going to pitch till September because he's hurt, I don't know. Hopefully our cheap owner Scott Harris doesn't use this as an excuse to not do anything at the deadline. That's definitely helped because there's only like maybe 6 or 7 teams that are truly out of it. Oh, I thought the Tigers acquired somebody. That Hessler was a good trade for the Mets. The Cardinals, they're so mediocre. If they're going to sell, then go all in selling, except for the guys you control. The Cardinals, they're good enough to where they can keep some guys like Brendan Donovan, and Solano and stuff like that. They can keep some guys around for longer pieces of the future because they have guys. Maybe if they're contenders in a few years, those guys are still under contract. But they're definitely not going to make a World Series run. They're probably not even going to make the postseason. They lost to the Rockies recently. And their pitching's just not that good. So I think that if you're going to sell, just sell your rentals only. And I'm not even sure what they got for them. I think it was a decent return. Yeah, I think they got it. Even if they got a little bit of return, because I know they undersold Flaherty when they traded him to the Orioles a few years back. Remember that? I still think that like just get a top maybe 15 prospect for him. He's one of the elite bullpen arms, but he's not Mason Miller level elite with control. And that was still way too much of an overpay for the Padres. But yeah, I mean, just sell anybody you can that has stuff, and maybe sometime it'll work out. Better to get something for a rental than to let him walk in free agency, especially when you're probably not going to make the playoffs. Oh, wait, Tigers are. Wait, is this good? Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Wait, it's Kyle Finnegan. We need an elite bullpen arm. I thought that all we were going to do is because I thought we were just going to get like that Montero guy or Sewell and then call it a day. Like, oh, we're good. I'm Scott Harris. I'm cheap, so I finesse the fans and I'm going to use this as an excuse not to buy. But no, if they got an elite bullpen arm, that's really, really good. As long as I don't think Kyle Finnegan, he's an elite bullpen arm, but he's not David Bender like. I would give up a top five prospect for David Bender, but I would not give up a top five prospect for Finnegan because, you know, there's a wide disparity between bullpen arms. Like, the really good ones, they're worth like maybe a top five prospect in your organization. Like the lower ones, not really. And I think he's Cal Finnegan, from what I've heard, he's just below the elite level. But yeah, I mean, just don't give up a top five prospect and we're good. Even though the Nationals do seem to ask for a lot. Let's see. Wait, what's his name? Kyle Finnegan. Let's see, what's his ER? If he is bad, what? He's trash. Oh wait, his FIP is good though. Wait, this guy's kind of trash. Bullpen, okay. I feel like this is good depth, but I mean, I'm not. At least we did something at the deadline. We got maybe a bunch of mediocre guys. Maybe one of them can be good this year with Montero, Sewell, Paddock, and now this guy. But I feel like and one of these guys has to stick around. But I feel like if we got a Bender too, that would be amazing. But I mean, if he has a good fit this year, and he was good last year too, I feel like if he can return to even slightly a good form, then that's a good trade for us because we need any decent bullpen arms. We only have like two or three, our bullpen's imploding. So we just need a solid arm, and even in a down year, his ERA is not terrible. So I think if he just remains solid, this is a good trade for the Tigers. A really good trade for the Tigers if they do something else with this. I know some might say I'm being greedy. Maybe he's one of the top bullpen arms on the market, but I think somebody like David Bender or any of like the Marlins relievers or like Kelly from the Diamondbacks, I feel like those would be the guys where like if we just got those guys and nobody else, I would be happy. But I still feel like this is good. But if we get somebody else that's actually putting up amazing numbers this year, like Bender, that would be amazing. And if we got him along with this guy, if he gets this guy and Bender, that's a masterclass. But Finnegan's still a good pitcher though. How old is he? Even if he's a rental, like one of these guys has to stick for the postseason. Good trade for the Tigers if they did not give up a top five prospect. He's not that bad. I keep saying please don't make this as an excuse not to do anything else, but he keeps proving me wrong. That's a good trade. If we do not give up a top five prospect, I'm excited. That's a good guy to get. Let's see. Yeah, his last couple of starts haven't been the greatest, but you know, it's still a good deal though. He's 33 years old. He made the All-Star team last year though. Yeah, I think a better fielding team with the Tigers too is gonna help. That's amazing. Does this show his lefty-righty stats? That's a really good trade, getting one of the good guys that's a solid arm. He's at least gonna be a solid arm. If he goes back to his last year's form, Tigers make another trade. Whoa, we gave up like nothing. They only gave up like a high A pitcher. They kind of do need pitchers in their farm system, but they also kind of don't. We're kind of set on pitcher when it comes to free agency and AAA and AA guys. So giving up like one of our lower pitchers in our organization too, that's also good. This allows us to make other trades too. It's like nobody knows what. You think that giving up a top 10 prospect for one of these guys would be okay. This is what I'm going to say. We didn't give up anything that jeopardizes our future or our trade future because these guys were not going to be used as trade bait. And they're not even at positions of need. Sure, we need pitchers, but these guys are not going to be the answer. This is a good trade. Now, hopefully we can make more trades. But we gave up more for Chris Paddock, and Paddock is significantly worse. Two young right-handed pitchers, we can easily get those guys back. We have plenty of pitchers. I think this is a good trade for us. Bad trade for the Nationals. I could have gotten more. Let's go, man. That's a good trade. It's a good trade because we didn't give up anything that changes our decisions to make trades in the future or anything that, or any prospects of note. And for one of the premier arms, only our number 15 prospect, who's again not even a big trade piece. He's just number 15, and he's not even like that good. Like in a 4 ERA, like sure that guy might be decent, which is why it's okay for the Nationals. But our best guy being that like a high A pitcher is not even that good, and a fairly new third round pitcher that wasn't even in the picture. That's a W trade for the Tigers. I give it a B plus. For the Nationals, I give it like a B minus. They were gonna trade him anyway. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Ooh, Harris. Good trade for the Phillies. This is a team where they have good batters and all, but if they have too much issues like in the fielding or their bullpen or whatever. So when time comes in October, even though they're a really good team, you know, the smallest little mistakes can hurt you. Well, maybe one of their lineup bats goes cold. They don't have a deep bench. Or maybe their fielding is bad. You're like, man, I wish they had another player. Getting a guy that's really solid, that has postseason experience like Harrison Bader, that is a good trade. And they don't even have that big of a farm system, so I can't imagine they give up a lot. And also, from the Twins, you could say they lighted $12 million on fire because they signed him in the. Why would you sign somebody in the offseason just to trade him? Like unless you get somebody good, because you're basically paying $15 million for like a probably an outskirt top 20 in another team's farm system. But yeah, he's a decent batter. If he has like a above 750 OPS, that's cool. He's doing better this year. If he can keep improving every year, then that could be really, really good. He's never been an amazing guy, but yeah, I feel like he's a guy. That's a postseason play. That's a good trade if they did not give up. I don't think they needed him. Okay, I don't think the Phillies needed him. He's a piece that could help, which is why I like the trade. Lightly regard. Okay, that's a great trade then. This is kind of like, you know, when the Braves traded for Jorge Soler, Clips editor. You know when the Braves traded for Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario, they were just under the radar. Some of these sellers actually get like these outskirt prospects, these top 10 prospects. Some of them can actually like be decent and be major league contributors. The Tigers have done this well. But like, you know when the Braves got Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario and all those guys and Adam Duvall, they did not give up much for them. It was barely outside their top 30 prospects. And then they helped, and then Jorge Soler won a World Series MVP. I'm telling you, this guy can be good in the postseason. I'm telling you guys, he can. Who's Henry Mendez? In the past, I'd look at everybody's prospects, but by lightly regarded, I hope they mean like bad. Phillies. Let's see, is he in the top 10? Oh, top 12. See, that's not terrible. Maybe a bit more than you like to give up for maybe a slightly below average rental, but that's still a good trade though. If that's the best guy that you gave up, a guy who's number 12. Now, if he shows production, then I will be a little bit worried. But other than that, if you give up a guy who's not even like the greatest or highly regarded, who is like 21 years old, then yeah, that's not that bad. Okay, maybe it is a little worse than I thought. I think they gave up a little bit too much. But again, as long as you don't give up a trade piece or a significant piece or any piece at all, as long as you don't give up any piece at all that could increasingly very likely help you for a rental who could maybe be clutch but is below average, is bad. But this guy is just outside that range. I'm going to say the Phillies overpaid a little bit, but they did not give up any big pieces. It's still potentially a bag of potato chips because he was not important to the Phillies. And now, this is why I'm giving this like an A for the Phillies. Now for the Twins, initially I was going to say bad deal, but the thing is that like I think this could be a good deal for the Twins too. He's having an 808 OPS and they need bats. He's not important to the Phillies, and it's a bag of potato chips, and they didn't give up too much for a rental, which is why I'm giving it an A, not an A plus, because it's slightly overpayment. But just because he's not useful to the Phillies and he's a throwaway for the Phillies does not mean he's a throwaway for the Twins. It doesn't have to do with their farm system. It has to do with their MLB team. They need a lot of help. Buxton always gets hurt too. And I feel like this guy could be decent in the MLB for the Twins. And even if he ends up being good in the MLB, I still don't think it's a bad trade for the Phillies because he's not an important trade piece and he's not an important foundation for their future in their thin farm system. This doesn't really thin out their farm system at all, so it's not a loss for the Phillies. And just because it's not a loss for the Phillies doesn't mean it's not a gain for the Twins. Because I give the Twins like an A minus on this deal because they were going to trade him anyway. And sure, they got like a throwaway prospect in the Phillies regards, and maybe they could have negotiated better to get somebody that the Phillies actually highly regarded. But instead of getting a guy that the Phillies actually highly regarded, they got a guy that could be highly regarded in the Twins farm system, if that makes sense, because he's an 808 OPS and 8 home runs. This guy's kind of a power guy. He has been in the minors for a little bit. But I think getting anybody who isn't struggling in the minors, especially in Double A, for a guy that you're just going to trade away is good. It's essentially number 12 prospect, a bag of potato chips for the Phillies, but for a team with an even worse farm system in the Twins, getting a guy like Henry Mendez. And if he keeps doing good, he can rise up here. It's a high upside trade with the Twins that they were going to make anyway. They were going to trade away Bader anyway. And a low risk because he's number 12 and they don't need outfielders. And it's a throwaway for the Phillies, but high reward. And Bader could be good in their postseason run for the Phillies. Both of them are low risk, high reward. If you are watching, make sure to chat. And they got this guy. If this guy's another guy who's really good, then that's a bad trade. Let's see, what's his name? That's a good return for the Twins. Let's see. Germary Varlarola. I like that return for the Twins, but I also like that for the Phillies. It's not a groundbreaking trade. I grade trade based on values. I give the Phillies an A minus now, and I give the Twins a B plus. That was a really good trade by the Twins. See, this is a guy that could actually help them in the future. Not a guy that could help the Phillies because they have their trade pieces. It's not a big loss for them because they still have their trade pieces in their farm system, and they also don't need like outfielders in 3 years because they have guys locked down, and they just got Bader, who's an outfielder, who's a better major league alternative for a contender, but he could still very much contribute to the Twins. That's good value, and they got another guy who maybe could be good, but it's a throwaway. But even getting 2 prospects for Bader is good. I thought it would be a guy that's like outside their top 30. He's number 12, and he's hitting good right now with an 808 OPS. That's a good trade for both of them. Win-win. See if anything else is happening. Whoa, wait, the Twins are selling off like crazy. Is Brock Stewart good? I promise I'm not a casual. Let's see. Twins needed to sell off a while ago. I don't know why they were just pretending they were competitive for a while. Their definition of mediocrity. Sheesh. Wait, how many innings? 34. Wow. I feel like this is a guy that could be a sham. If the Twins get a good return, it's an absolute robbery because he's only pitched 34 innings and he's had a good start. There's plenty of guys who've pitched early in the season and have had good starts and then have fallen off. Look at Tommy Kahnle of the Tigers, my team. And I feel like this could be a guy that the Dodgers think they're getting somebody really good and then he just falls off. Because look at his other stats. I have a feeling he's going to fall off later. But if they don't give up anything, that's a good trade. Let's react to the trades that I missed. Now, of course, the New York Yankees got David Bender. I wanted the Tigers to get him. He's one of the few guys that is elite. He's having a better season than Mason Miller, and you'd expect maybe the Pirates could get a Mason Miller-like return, even though Miller has a bunch of years of control with him. And you didn't think the Yankees would pull off this trade because there was reports saying they did not want to give up a big prospect, and in years past they've been very reluctant to give up a top prospect. They said this year they don't want to give up a top prospect, and in years past they haven't given up top prospects for the guys that they've wanted. In the Yankees, like, they really didn't want to give up a top 5 prospect. It looked like they were gonna make like a huge splash. So you think that the Yankees would not give up a top 5 prospect for this, but on the other hand, the Pirates, they need some players now because they got a bunch of young minor league players for their on their trades, a bunch of single A players, but they need young, promising MLB players that are close to the MLB level. Maybe try to contend before Skeens leaves. And also, he's a rental too. So even though he has like a 2.37 ERA, you think that maybe they're not as good as sellers as other teams, and maybe like they'd get fleeced, and you think maybe they'd not get that interesting of a player, or maybe they'd not even get a top 10 prospect for him. You just need some interesting high value players, maybe 2 or 3 players. And for the Yankees, you don't want to give up a top 5 prospect, and this is one of the top relievers on the market. So you think of the conflict of interest, but both got what they wanted. The Yankees gave up their number 8 prospect and another guy that's close to the MLB level for David Bender. And even though he's the number 8 prospect, he's very good. He's been doing very good in the MLB, and he's a MLB ready player who's also a catcher who could replace the Pirates' Joey Bart, who is on the trade block too. That's a huge get. He has a 2.37 ERA. That is absolutely huge. Yeah, that's just massive. Rafael Flores is one of the players too. Yeah, that's Rafael Flores. I just need to see the full deals. Yeah, he's torn up AAA, double A and AAA, and is a top shelf framer. He's a very good catcher, and he can hit too. And Perez too. Like, they got a player here. It looks like they got a player here just like the Twins did, who is at a position of need and who really good in the minor leagues, and most importantly, this is the most important part, a guy who has production. If you're going to get a low-end, not top 5 prospect in a guy's system for a really good player, you want that player that you get to at least have upside to where you say, hey, maybe he's ranked lower, but he could be underrated because of how good he's playing. Well, he's tearing it up. Also, the two other players too, they got their number 14 prospect too, which is also two top 15 prospects alone for Bednar would be good because he's a rental. Getting anything really good for a rental. This is better than the Eugenio Suarez trade for the Pirates. And the Pirates also didn't have much leverage here. Sure, you'd think maybe he's worth a top 5 prospect in some eyes because of his elite status. And you'd think that, hey, maybe the Pirates are going to undersell. Because even though a lot of other teams have been getting top 5 prospects for these guys, there's a chance that a guy like Bednar in a rental, there's a very easy chance you could just get a couple, maybe low end, maybe one top 15 prospect and another top 20 prospect. And the top 15 prospect is like super far away from the MLB or is not even doing good. But they got a guy who's very intriguing. I think he could be a top 100 MLB prospect in a couple of years. No, he probably could reach the MLB this year, and at a position of need too, and also like very good, and the number 14 prospect too. They probably could have done a little bit better, but also that means that the other guys weren't offering as much. I don't know why Mason Miller got a bunch, but it means that this is the best offer, which means the Yankees had more leverage, and the Yankees needed this. But because the Pirates are good at negotiating, it seems like even though they can't get a top 5 prospect guy, they did the best they could, and they got a number 8 and number 14. This is good for the Pirates because they got a guy who has MLB production, or who has a lot of minor league production in a position that they need, who's not just any top 10 prospect or top 15 prospect that you see in these types of deals who are sometimes, no, he could very legitimately be talking about one of the most underrated prospects in the minor leagues. And they also got another top 15 prospect. Just getting 2 top 15 prospects alone would be good enough for me for this sell, but they also got the number 8 prospect who's a catcher. It's a very good deal. You could say he's worth a top 5, but in terms of the market, in terms of rentals, and in terms of what the Yankees were willing to give up, it's a good deal. Now you could say, well, just trade with another guy who's not the Yankees if you think he's worth more, and that's the best the Yankees are going to give up. Well, if they took the Yankees deal, that probably means that's the best that they're offering. I hate to break it to you. And for this being the best that they're offering, and the Yankees probably knowing, actually, I wouldn't say the Yankees knew, but the likelihood that that's the best offer they're going to get, I think the Pirates did a good job at hiding that this was the best offer available and to the Yankees and getting the most that they could out of a rental, because if this is what he's worth, they were probably the Pirates were probably going to get worse than this. But even though they didn't have the leverage with a rental and time running out on the trade deadline, they worked it out and they got a number 8 and number 14 prospect. Great job for the Pirates. They have done very good in this. And yes, I just think they got very good value. In the Yankees, even though I just said these guys are really, really good for that, it is a bit of a loss for the Yankees farm system. I do think this guy could have maybe helped. But again, most teams, if you're not like stingy on the prospect like the Yankees are, would give up a top 5, maybe top 3 prospect for an elite guy like this. This guy's a 2.37 ERA, so I think just getting, even if they gave up the moon for him, maybe not the moon, but if they gave up close to the moon for him, I would say it's still a good deal because the Yankees, they're always a World Series contender. Getting a bullpen arm like this is huge, and even though they give up 2 top 15 prospects, the fact that they didn't give up a top 5 prospect and the fact that they still got this trade off, even though all MLB teams know they're not going to give up one of their elite prospects, is massive because they already have a catcher and they got a closing pitcher now. This was their biggest need. They also did a good job leveraging because the Pirates probably knew that the Yankees needed this. But they got one of the best closers in the game for 2 guys who could be good, but they're not a part of the Yankees' future. I'll say this again. Just like for the Tigers trade for Finnegan, even though it's a top 15 prospect and it's good for the Pirates, it's not a part of their future, so it does not hurt the Yankees. And the fact that they were willing to stick by their no stingy prospects, their very stingy prospect stance and belief, and still get David Bednar is a huge get. Now, also, Freddie Fermin, I need to see that. I need to see Freddie Fermin. I might not give as big of a analysis for this one. Still having 0 viewers. Let's see, what is his 648 OPS? I think it's a bit of a nothing burger. Giving up 3 players for him is that's kind of weird. Where's his actual batting stats? 648 OPS. He's never really been amazing in his career. He hasn't even 6'7". He hasn't even played that many games in his career. It depends who they gave up. Yeah, I don't think they gave up much. Even though they didn't give up much, the Royals still getting like 2 or 3 players for Freddie Fermin is a very good value for the Royals. I'd say I give it like a B for the Royals and like a C. I give it a C for the Padres. I give the Yankees an A and the Pirates an A. They both did very, very good. Now the Mets just got Cedric Mullins. I think, again, I'm gonna say kind of like the Jared Durant thing. I think he could be good in clutch situations, but he's obviously fallen off. I think he's a bit overrated just because of his 2021 season. I feel like this is a saturated market. I feel like they already have a center fielder, or I guess he can move to left or right field. But if they so low, I guess not a bad deal. I need to look at Cedric Mullins again. He's not been the greatest. Cedric Mullins. Again, like, good power bat, but I mean, not the greatest. How are the Yankees doing this? I feel like the Yankees are having a great deadline because this is another trade, the Bird trade. They keep like getting all these players and they're not even paying that much for them, like in terms of the Yankees stuff. This is kind of like what the Tigers are doing, but better because the Tigers are getting a bunch of washed old guys at a quantity, but they're getting quality guys at a quantity. I feel like if this guy's terrible, though, it's a bad trade because why would you trade to the Rockies for a guy who can make you worse? But if he's good, that's a great trade. Jake, 4.73, 3.45 fifth though. Yeah, probably. I think he's very smart trade. I feel like this is a smart trade by the Yankees. He's going to do better in Coors Field. I still don't know I can't imagine they gave up too much for Mean though. Oh, James Outman is going to the Dodgers didn't need that. I give it like a B plus for the Dodgers. I feel like that Stewart could still be a meh type of player, and for the Twins, I give it like a B plus. Getting a solid MLB, this guy could be like a starter if he keeps developing. That's a great trade for the Twins, getting James Outman because he could be a good center fielder, maybe a piece for the future, but also maybe not a piece for the future if he continues to be below average. I feel like the Twins getting a high upside prospect would have been better because right now they're not really in the contending mode, and if they got a prospect, maybe save up for the future. So then a guy they got from that trade could end up contributing more when they're good, as opposed to James Outman kind of rotting away in a mediocre Twins team. Maybe he regresses a little bit. But also on the other hand, it's a decent MLB player. I give that a B plus on the Twins end. I feel like that's a bit of an overpayment for the Dodgers. They could have done better. But if Stewart keeps playing like how he does, that's a good trade for the Dodgers. A top 10 prospect for that's a good brain move by the Yankees, but they're giving away trade pieces like candy now. I give it like a B plus for Jake Bird. That's a really good return for the Twins though, like if they get oh, he's in AAA though. How old is Outman? If he's like under 25, that's a great deal. James, 28. What's his contract though? I guess he's on the team for a few more years. That's a few years of team control. 20. He had a good, decent year that year. I feel like it's a good move for the Twins, really good move. I still feel like they could have done maybe a little bit better and gotten a high-end prospect, but just in this situation. But again, I'm gonna walk that back. Actually, I'd rather get I don't know, a 30-year-old out. You're just basically getting the same thing as Harrison Bader at most. But I feel like a guy, maybe if he sticks around for a few more years, that's a great return. Okay, I feel like getting a high prospect would be slightly better, but again, this in some ways to some people is better than that, because if you get a guaranteed and reliable, he's going to be at least below average in the MLB. And if the Twins somehow become contenders, that's a major win. I feel like if the Twins continue mediocrity and they just end up trading him away anyway, like they should have gotten a high-end prospect. So that's not that great. Carlos Correa? What? Whoa. Yo, if they give up 2 top 15 prospects, when I say that buyers spend too much, just because buyers spend too much doesn't mean it matters. Because giving up 2 top 15 prospects, sure, you could say that's an overspend, but it doesn't affect their future. So in a way, every single trade that isn't like a top 100 prospect is like an A plus for the buyer. That's the way broken baseball is. It's not like the NFL where you give up a draft pick that could become a first rounder, or the NBA where you actually do player for player. It's minor leaguers. But I'm grading this based on the sense of based how the MLB works. If I give a team, let's say they gave up 2 top 10 prospects who are not in the MLB top 100, even though it's in theory a good trade for the buyer because it's not like they're going to be important to them, it's still more than what they should have paid for the MLB. So if I'd say it's a good get, if they, in terms of MLB, if they don't give up, in terms of the MLB trade deadline setting and scenario, if they don't give up 2 top 10 prospects or anything like that, but even if they do, it's still getting a bat like Carlos Correa for people who aren't going to be part of your future. Now, the Twins, I think if they get anything off of this, it's good. I predict it's going to be like outside the top 30. That's crazy. Correa fell off, right? I feel like if he regains form, this could be one of the greatest trades in the last 2 or 3 years if he regains form. But I also feel like if he continues to bat bad, and if they give up like players who end up being good in the MLB for the Twins, that's a really bad. I feel like if any of the players they give up are like remotely like really interesting, kind of like the Twins or the Phillies thing, that's bad. Yeah, not. He was good last year though, but he's not very good this year. Yeah, 93 games. He's injury prone too. What's his contract looking like? If this is a lot of money, then it's bad. Let's see. He's signed until 2032, but there's a team option. Is he actually signed until 2032? That's a big name trade, but I feel like in value, it's not that big because he's not that good anymore. Dang, Carlos Correa. That's crazy. Paredes is out for the season. I guess they needed that, but still. I remember when I wanted the Tigers to get him. Sanchez. Yeah. I guess the Astros need to push in, but I feel like there's a way to do that without compromising your future, and usually I don't care about compromising your future if it's to win now. I want the Tigers to blow all their farm system to win now, because we have Scoobo for 2 years. But I feel like you need to do it for the right players, do it for proven players. I feel like if you're paying a lot of the Correa contract, you're basically taking on contract salary for a past their prime guy. You probably could have picked up better third base. Like, look at Carlos Correa's stats. Like, 7 home runs. He's hitting he's a decent average hitter, but what's his WAR this year even? 0.1. Yep, 0.1 WAR. I think it's a big nothing burger. You're basically, it depends how much of the salary they have to take on. How good is Jesus Sanchez, though? If the Twins are going on a fire sale, we need to see Jesus Sanchez first. The Marlins just sell off all. I want to be more light on the Marlins in my reactions because last year they got amazing deals last year. For the deadline, they got amazing 740 open. I feel like they're doing the same mistakes that the Tigers are doing, but the Tigers, when they traded for all these past their prime guys, and you're like, hey, that's not a good move. You're being too conservative. Blah blah blah. At least they didn't give up anything. Like, the Astros would have to pay a significant amount of money for a player I don't even think makes them a World Series contender unless he does really good. Now, it also, I do have to give them credit. He could be good, but I don't think banking on him to return to form is going to do anything. Now, look at the Jesus Sanchez deal. He has 10 home runs in 86 games he's hitting. Guess not a bad deal if you don't give up a lot for it. Choose Danny Colibine. Yeah, I feel like the Twins need to do this a long time ago because these players that the Twins are trading now, they're getting good deals for them, but it's not even like it's huge value, guys. Like, I need to see Colibine. The Rangers need to do more, okay? The Rangers need to do more at the deadline. They've not done much. Danny Colibine. 16 ERA. How many games has he? Huh? Wait, excuse me? Is this the trade of the trade? This is the trade of the year. What the heck? Only 40 games. This guy's elite. Has he made an all-star appearance? What? Am I missing something? 31 innings pitched, 40 games, 1.16 ERA. How many years of control does he have? Oh, he's a free agent next year, that's why. That's a great deal. Just don't... The Rangers also have a thin farm system, so if they can get him for really cheap, that's really, really good. Where's the returns, though? That's really good. Good trade for... I need to know the returns for the Carlos Correa and the other stuff, though. Feels sad that Carlos Correa is the big move later in the day. So much happened yesterday. YouTube, if you guys are enjoying this compilation video that my good editor has put together, subscribe, click like. But yeah. Oh, wait, Ryan O'Hearn. That's a great deal. That's a great... I think it might be crazy for saying this, but I think they need one more deal to actually put them into a World Series contender because they're getting a bunch of good players, and Mason Mills is a really good player. But that still doesn't put them over the Dodgers. I think maybe another good player would be good. But yeah, this guy's good. I feel like the Padres didn't really need it that much, though, which is why I think as long as they don't give up overpay like a bunch again, because I feel like they could have gone without Ryan O'Hearn, even though he's a very solid hitter. They could have gone without him. A very good bat. All-star this year, too. That's really good. What does he play? First baseman and right fielder. He might not even start, but nah, that's a good trade. Whoa, and Ramon Laureano. Bro, okay. This is a W trade already because I know they already gave up their best prospect for Mason Miller. So by default, anything less than that's a good trade. Now they are a World Series contender. This could be an A+ trade, but I need to know the returns. Is Ramon Laureano good too? That's Orioles needed to sell. I feel like they should have done it earlier. Actually, no, they traded away Dominguez. I love this trade. This was so genius. I just made an entire list of MLB trade deadline. Ramon Laureano. I mean, I guess they needed this. They've done this in the past and it didn't work. Usually I'd be super excited for a team like this, which like I am. They're going to be really fun to watch and they don't scare my Tigers in the AL. But I feel like they've done this in the past with Juan Soto and I don't know if it's going to work again. Does it really adjust their pitching? I guess, yeah, they needed to replace Jerks and Profar in the outfield, though. Maybe Merrill is on the injured list. Sheesh, 884 OPS. Editor, include this. 15 home runs. They just got two. How are the Orioles not good with this? Two elite. I would not be. You can give up a bunch of top 100 prospects for this, but the fact that you do not need to give up your best prospect or like that trade with Mason Miller already takes your best prospect off the board and three other prospects. So the fact that you do not have to give up any of those prospects that you gave up to the A's for Mason Miller automatically makes it like a pretty good value trade because you don't have to give up your best player and you don't have to give up as much value. Ryan Gosto, Chase Jaworski. I wouldn't say it's a big loss. It's maybe nothing bigger for the Marlins. Good deal for the Astros, but not like game breaking. Oh, they gave up their number 13. That's not terrible for the Marlins. Let's see. I mean, yeah, not bad trade for the Astros. Really, no other. I feel like that's a bit of an undersell for the Marlins, but with years of control. But again, not the end of the world. I give it like a C for the Marlins and like a B minus for the Astros, or not that big. Whoa, Will Wagner. Who's Will Wagner? Will Wagner in exchange for Brandon Venezuela. They gave up anything. They probably shouldn't even give up a top prospect. Oh, nobody cares about that trade. Padres. Nope, not even on there. This is probably not even worth putting in. Have acquired Alex Call. Who's Alex Call? Alex Call. 756. So the Dodgers don't really need much, maybe besides starting pitcher. I feel like they've done a little underwhelming. 3 home runs. Yeah, what's so special? Last year, 30 games, he was pretty good last year. I don't see much about this guy that's intriguing me. He's 30. That's a nothing burger trade for me. That's the big trade. The Twins should get at least a top 10 prospect because this is a guy who's like really good. And I feel like even though he's a rental, he could get some really big value. Let's see, Garrett Horn. Is he a prospect or a player? Probably a prospect, right? They got a guy who could stick around for a little bit, a really good deal. I would have liked a minor league better, but the James Outman, now that I'm thinking about it, that's a better and better deal for the Twins. I give them like an A minus on the one that they traded to the Dodgers. Okay, now this is the important part. Rangers. I don't even know if the Rangers have a Texas Ranger. Where are they? Wait, am I just stupid? Yeah, where are the Rangers? There they are. Okay, so who did they? It's only one prospect. If it's Garrett Horn, okay. Garrett Horn. I feel like they undersold a little bit, the Twins. That's a great. Oh, he's not even in there. Wait, is he a major league player? 2 R's and 2 T's. He's not even in their top 30. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm gonna give this like Columbine was really good this year. I feel like okay, it's better to let him go than for nothing, but I feel like it's good that they traded him, which is why I'm not giving him an F because like he is on an expiring deal. But because of all these other pitchers, like these other players, like the Pirates with David Bender, they're getting like they're trading away players that are on the last year of their deal for a lot of good value stuff. Same with like all these guys, they're trading away bullpen arms that with a year left, and they're getting at least like a top 20 prospect. This guy's not even in the top 30, so I feel like it's good that they traded him. It's bad for the return. I give this an A plus for the Rangers, and I give this like a D plus for the Twins. One of the only bad trades that the Twins have made all day. Let's see. 16. I guess he does have a 756 OPS, so it's not bad for catcher depth. But I feel like the Dodgers gave up too much. I feel like this is like a confident B minus for the Dodgers because even though they didn't really get that good of a player, and they did give up a 2 top 20 prospects, which for a better player like Columbine, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but for a better player like Columbine, the Rangers didn't even give up a top 30 prospect in their system, according to MLB Pipeline, and the Dodgers gave up 2 top 20 ones. So I guess in a sense, like the Nationals won because the Dodgers like they didn't even give up like the Dodgers gave up the top 20 when they could have given less. But also I guess he's not a useless player. Like he could be useful and he's an okay player that's at least playable if you're on a bad team. Like if you're on like a kind of like a below average team, he would be maybe a starter. But even if that's the case, the fact that he can maybe be a starter a below average team means that he can be good depth, maybe at a position they need, and maybe if there's injury. So getting a guy that could contribute at all for a low price, even though it's a bit higher priced, because again, number 16, number 20, they're not going to matter much for the Dodgers, obviously. So in a sense, you could say the Dodgers got him for nothing, that they won, but I'm putting this in trade deadline terms, and in trade deadline terms, they gave up a little bit too much. So I'd say that getting a guy who's not even that good, 756 OPS, for this, I'd say it's like a C plus for the Dodgers. They did get a guy that they could use in the Nationals. I don't think they were going to use this guy at all unless he was super young. If you get a top 100 prospect, this is good. This is two players, mind you. For one controllable player, that's good. Okay, let's see. A guy like Ryan O'Hearn, a rental, is probably worth two players. A guy like Laureano's worth like three. You got six. You got an extra player. So this is big. Let's see if any of these guys are big on the Padres farm system. This is for a controllable player too, so I will be judging harshly. I'll be looking into these prospects. They got the Padres number 4 prospect, Cub Hightower, number 6 prospect, 29 prospect. See, it doesn't matter if they got like this many people if like some of them are super low. Wait, oh no, and they got the number 12 prospect. That's really good. What about Buttersworth? Where's Buttersworth? 26 prospect. No, not 26 prospect. So we need Buttersworth, and Smith, Tanner Smith and Buttersworth. Yeah, it looks like they got 4 Padres top 30 prospects, and one of them's a top 4, one of them's top 6, one of them is top 12, one of them is top 29. So they got number 4, number 6, number 12, number 29, and 2 randoms. That's a good deal for the Orioles. Whoa, Rangers got. Okay, wait. Let me talk about the other one too. Let me talk about the other ones too. Okay, are any of these guys in the top 100 though? Any of these guys in the top 100? Nope, none of these. They didn't get a top 100 prospect, but I think the amount of prospects that they got, even getting, okay, O'Hearn, like getting anybody like for him by themselves, that's a good deal because like that's a rental, okay? And getting a guy like Gloriano, sure he's pretty good, but I think he's just like a one-off year, which is it's still a valuable play for the Padres, which is why it's a good trade for the Padres. Still, because let's look at the Padres side of this. They got a controllable player, kind of like Soto, which means he can still be good after this year, even if they fail, and a guy like O'Hearn. These are not just like under the radar bats who've been okay like Brandon Drury was. These are two proven guys. These are two proven guys. And for the Orioles, you need to sell and you need to restock in that farm system too. I think getting some valuable players for that is good as well. Now let's look at Laureano. Giving up 6 prospects. Okay, the thing is the amount of prospects is big because let's say you gave him like 2 or 3 prospects. That's 2 or 3 chances to fail, and most minor league players fail. 6 prospects, you're at least probably going to get 1 or 2 players who contribute to the minors for at least a little bit. Getting multiple players that could contribute to the minors for a controlled player, for a player that is a rental, and another player who's under control but is not a superstar, it's huge. Like you didn't even know that you're going to get that from the Soto deal. They got a huge haul for 2 guys who are good but not elite. Oh, he was good last year too. He's old too. How many years of contract does he have? I think it's until like 2027, right? 2026, he's a free agent. Yeah, I feel like good return for the Orioles because you got a haul and you're going to get major league production players because at least 2 of these guys are going to be good. You got a Padres top 4 player in their system, well, for this. So, yeah. And it's at pitching position too. You need a pitcher. You got 3 top 12 prospects. That is huge. And you got some that are close. You got options. I like the amount of quality and quantity. I'm going to say this for the Orioles. This is my final verdict. They got a 6-player haul. At least 2 of them are going to be good because it's 6 players and 3 of them are top 12. Well, you also got 3 top 12 players who are quality too. And one of them it's for 2 players, and one of them you can just chalk out because who cares? He's a rental who's good, but he's not like attached to him. And the other one is a pretty good player, but he's only been good for 1 year. He's on the older side, and you're rebuilding anyway, so it's not like you're going to need him the next 2 years. And of course, all these players who are trading away, these players don't need them. But again, sometimes you're mad when a player gets a bad return because you're like, oh, these are really good players who are worth a lot. And maybe if we kept them around, they could have been good. Nope, because O'Hearn was on his way out the door. Laureano was also, he was not going to contribute much because if he was under control for a few more years, yes, that's a bad trade. but it's only like 1 more year. So the Orioles don't have a use for him. Because I feel like all these like undersellers, sure it's they don't need them, but they could use them for other trades. I feel like Laureano, you're not going to get much for him in any other trade besides with Rhino Hearn. So you basically, because you don't need Rhino Hearn anyway, that would probably be worth like maybe one top 30 prospect. But because you package Laureano with it, you're basically, it's a one player for six prospect thing. Okay, in short, I think it's a good trade for the Orioles because they get basically one player that they kind of is a good control piece for six prospects. And you got one top 4 prospect, a top 6 prospect, and a top 12 prospect. It's good because they got max value for him. They basically got 6 players for one player, basically. He's a really good player, but he's not like, there's better pitchers on the market. So they got a lot for him. They got quality and quantity. And all for what? 2 players who are really good, but not like amazing. Now let's flip to the Padres. They're going all in. They do not care about their prospect thing. And the main concern for a buyer who is selling all their prospects to get good stuff is, oh no, they're not going to have any elite prospects left. And I think they overpaid for Mason Miller. But for this, even with their now depleted farm system after they traded away all their good players for other guys, they can still make more trades and they still have some impact players in their farm system because their highest one was the number 4 prospect. That's still that's still high in their farm system, but they still remain their top 3. They still have a bunch of their top 10 prospects. You didn't give up another top 10 prospect, and you still have trade pieces. You barely have any. It's a bit of an overpayment, but the thing is, if I'm grading a trade like this, the thing I'm going to say is, if it could be a lot worse for getting 2 really good players, then it's a good deal. Then it is a good deal. And you're getting 2 players who have close to 900 OPS. This brings depth, it brings position of need, and it brings clutch hitting for the postseason. Without this trade, I don't think they can go far. No, this is a B for the Padres simply because the value these players added, and you still have your remaining top 100 prospects in baseball. And it's a W trade for the Orioles because you got players that are going to contribute at the major league level, and these players are really good, and they're going to help the Padres, but they're not going to help you. And if they're not like superstars and you got superstar value. Okay, final verdict, the Orioles got 6 players and a lot of quality players for a rental and a player who's good, but he's not a superstar value level player who you're super concerned about keeping on to. And you still got really good prospects for that. And it's good for the Padres because even though you kind of overpaid for it, these are players who aren't just might help you. These aren't players that like you're going to say, oh, you overpaid because they're not worth that much or they might not be as good and this might bite you in the butt. No, these are players that you know for sure are going to be really, really good. And you got 2 solid contributors and you still have some top 100 prospects left in baseball. It's a good deal because the Padres salvaged a good part of their farm system. It's good for the Padres because even though these players might not be super important to the Orioles, which is why them getting a good deal and this is good, these players are going to be super important to the Padres. They get 2 really good hitters who are going to help them on a postseason run, and you didn't give up the moon. You gave up a lot, but you didn't give up the moon. So the Orioles got good value, and the Padres got 2 really good hitters. The Rangers acquire Merrill Kelly. This is a really good starter. I wanted the Tigers to get him, and he doesn't really have much injury issues too. So, holy crap, there's more trades too. For 3 prospects, I think I'd give away anything, as long as it's not a top 100 prospect too. Because, the Astros didn't really give up a bunch for their thing, so... Yep. And I have to wait on the Kelly thing, but really good job. The Rangers need all they can get. They got a good bullpen arm, and they got one of the best starters on the market. Really good, 3.22 ERA. He does have an injury history. I think he's going to fit in right in there. I do think the Rangers kind of needed bats more, though, which is why I'm going to scale it down a little bit, because they needed bats like a little bit more. But other than that, it's still a really good starter. And even if it's a lot, I still think it's good. Now, the Diamondbacks, I think they should oversell a little bit. By oversell, I mean demand a little bit more that he's worth to make up for the Suarez trade. If they do that, I think it's a decent trade. Now, put this to, editor, the Yankees have traded Oswaldo Peraza to the Angels. I'm not sure why the Yankees would sell, but if it's for a major league player, good. If the Angels got him for nothing, sure, that's decent. I don't know why the Angels are buying, though. The Angels shouldn't be buying, but if they didn't give up much, it's not bad. If the Yankees gave up him for nothing, then I guess it's like kind of a bad trade, but it's not the end of the world. Willie Castro to the Cubs. That's really good because they needed a hitter, they needed a shortstop, and this is a guy, he's a good major league player. I think just giving up maybe not as much for him would be great. The Twins are trading like every year. There's a guy who trades like crazy, like the Marlins last year. I feel like Castro might be a little gimmicky, which is why I don't think the Cubs should give up much. Let's see, is he one of the best pitchers in baseball actually? Wait a second. Yo, this guy's. They got an all-star. This is a W trade. Okay, kind of a below average trade for the Yankees, but I'm not gonna say much. Maybe like C plus for both sides. Good trade for the Cubs. Getting this is a good haul for the Diamondbacks. Getting some pitchers to replace Merrill Kelly for a guy who's gonna be a free agent anyway. Kind of like a Jack Flaherty Renaissance deal. I feel like okay, for the Rangers, it's important to get him, and it's a huge deal. I think they need to push, they need to pull in, even if it doesn't result in a World Series. It's still like it's still important to make a playoff run. And I'd be damned if they did not get him, because like he's a good arm on the market on a selling team. But I feel like you could have maybe negotiated better and only given up two of these guys that you've mentioned in their top 15. But still, nonetheless, it's just a slight overpayment for a really good guy. So I'm gonna give this a B plus, an A minus for the Rangers because they got a guy who is really good. They did not give up any like elite prospects, and they just slightly overpaid. And for the Diamondbacks, I'm gonna give this an A minus as well. Obviously, like maybe in some Diamondbacks fans' fantasies, they're like, oh, maybe we can get some top 3 prospects or something like that. When in reality, they got a little bit more than they should have because they still got a top 5 prospect. They got a guy that they can be excited for a starting pitcher who's kind of older and is going to be let go. And they also got the number 9 prospect and a number 13 prospect. You got 3 pitchers. It's a bit of an overkill in the position, which is why it's not the best, because maybe you want something spread out. But hey, the Diamondbacks got some good hitters in their system. And you get 3 guys who have done really good. I think some of them have guaranteed production in the MLB, I think. Good. You got good value for the Diamondbacks because you got 3 prospects for a guy who's going to be let go anyway. So that's a W, and it's a W for the Rangers because it's one of the guys that you really need that's really competitive market, and you did not give up a top 100 prospect for him, but you also slightly overpaid. I'm gonna give it this a B plus for the Rangers because he's not Joe Ryan level elite, and I'm gonna give this an A minus for the Diamondbacks. Okay, let's see Bailey Falter. Bailey Falter. Bailey. The Pirates have gotten a decent haul. Let's see, 3.73 ERA. Is he a starting pitcher? 113 innings pitched. He's 7-5. 22. He's a starting pitcher. Okay, giving up a starting pitcher is a bit different. 3.73 ERA, about 4.86 FIP. Maybe he's not the greatest guy. I feel like if you're giving up a lot for him, I feel like this is a fluke thing for a team that's under 500. I don't think the Royals should go all in. Maybe get some guys they can use for the future. If he's under contract, then this is a decent thing. Okay, he's a free agent in 2029. So I think this is a good deal for the Royals to get a good guy under control. It's actually really good. I kind of take it back. But if they give up a core piece for the future or a piece that could hurt their future, then I think it is a little bit bad. Whoa. Just get Nestor Cortez. Good thing if they did not give up. If they got a guy who could be really good, you see what he did for the Yankees when he's an ace. For like a throwaway bag of prospects, that's a really good. That could be a thing where it's like, oh, remember when we got Nestor Cortez who helped us in the postseason? Oh, yeah, and we barely gave up. Who's this one prospect? Yeah, I forgot about him. Like if they gave up something like really minor for that, that's good. But if they gave up something even really interesting of note, I'd say it's a risk. But if it's like as long as it's not like a top 15 prospect, because you might say, well, number 14 prospect isn't going to make a big deal in the MLB. He's a trade chip though, so I think like just don't give up a big trade chip for this guy. No, Dusty May, that is a good trade for the Red Sox. Maybe they did not get Joe Ryan and they pivoted on this. I think it might cost a lot, but I think getting a for sure good arm from the Dodgers this is gonna help you make a postseason run is huge, especially with all the moves the Mariners and Rangers have been making too in the wild card thing. Yeah, maybe I was incorrect. Scratch what I said. It's a good trade to get a guy that could very well help you, and that's a starter, and that has been very good in the past, kind of like the Nestor Cortez deal, but a little better. And it's a good trade, and you needed to do something, but I would actually not give up something good. I need to see Bailey Falter again. Yeah, let's see. Evan Sisk. I need to go to the Royals thing. The Royals need their prospects because they're not doing good right now in the majors. I don't even know why they're buying. So, guy who's really good. He's hitting free agency, right? I keep forgetting. Nope, he's under control. I feel like they could have done a little better for a team under control, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. I give it like a C for the Pirates. For the Royals, it's a guy who could help, but again, I don't think you should have bought. But it's a good value. I'll give it a B for the Royals. Now, for the Nestor Cortez trade, they got Brandon Lockridge. This guy better not be in their top 20. I gotta look at. Feels like they're giving up weight. Yeah, not even in their top 30. The Brewers are contenders. Why would you should have started? Let me look at Nestor Cortez stats. Nestor Cortez. Let's see. Yeah, that's like a nothing burger for both teams. For the Padres, could make you worse. I'll give it like a C plus, and I'll give it like a C for the Brewers. Nothing burger. Let's see. Tampa Bay Rays are crying out. Why would you sell and trade? They've traded away other guys, now they're buying. I think the fact that they're buying is bad. Yankees acquire Jose Calip. This is a. Let's see the Miguel and Duhar trade. Okay, Miguel and Duhar. I might need to shorten these summaries because holy crap, there's a lot of trades going on. This is a good trade. Okay, good trade, good depth trade for the Reds so far. Hauser, let's see how good Hauser is. The White Sox have to get something off of these. Their farm system's good, but not like what you think it would be for how bad they are. Yankees get Jose Calabaro. That could be a sneaky good one if he's They need productive hitters in there. You need to get something for this because, okay, I think the White Sox, you need to get a top 10 prospect for this because this is a guy, he's a really good, and you've undersold recently, even though he's a free agent next year. He's one of the best guys on the market. The bullpen arms are dwindling, so I think the White Sox need to get something for this. And Rays, don't give up any of your big pieces for the future, like top 5 guys, for this because you're not a contender. I don't know why you would even make that trade. I'm not gonna. Yeah, but it's an. Oh, I need to know the details. Evan Pierres and is that good? Well, that's a nothing burger trade. It can make them worse. They give like a C minus for the Yankees and like a D plus for the Rays. Because why would you even sell guys that could help you win if you're buying again? Wait, Tampa Bay. Yeah, they're like bipolar when it comes to that. Tyler Rogers. Tyler Rogers to the Cubs. Okay, that's a. Let me see Tyler Rogers. What are the Pirates doing? Tyler. I might not give an in-depth analysis for every trade because holy crap. Taylor Rogers. Taylor. That's a good player. And he's being traded to the Cubs. That's a good one. Phil Maton is going to the Rangers. You also needed that. The Rangers are stacking up without depleting their farm system. Okay, now Phil Maton to the Rangers. Blah, blah, blah. Ivan Brethro. Is he good? I don't know. He's not good. They undersold. I give this like a C minus for the Pirates. Great move getting Taylor Rogers for the Cubs. That's an absolute steal. I give this an A, getting a good bullpen arm. The Nats did not trade Mackenzie Gore. That's a smart decision too. Camilo Doval. That's also a really good arm too. Yeah, that is pretty huge. I feel like the Giants are going to undersell too. Whoa! Whoa, wait. Griffin Jackman to the Rays? Are the Rays selling or buying? I think it's already graded down if the Rays are just buying in the first place. Because if you're buying, then why are you trading away all these other guys? Why would you trade away all these other guys just to get these other guys to replace them? Why would you trade away Zach Little if you're going to replace him with Griffin Jacks? Are you just trying to be more cost efficient? But yeah, that's huge. Charlie Morton too. Let me look at Charlie Morton's stats to the Tigers. That's huge. What's he? Is he good? Is he good? I feel like he is good. What is this deadline, Harris? This is terrible. This is terrible. What are we doing? Actually, what are the Tigers doing? This is terrible. This is actually terrible. I'm so disappointed. That's it? That's terrible. That's actually terrible. Blue Jays acquiring Louis. He's a good bullpen arm. I'm disappointed in the Tigers. I thought he was good. Bad deadline. Bad deadline. What is this? He hasn't been good in 2 years. Is he? Is he? He's a free agent, right? What are we doing? That's it for the Tigers. Hi, France too. James Tibbs. Okay, this is huge. Whoa, he was one of the guys with the Rafael Devers thing. Wait, did they just? No way they got a top 5 prospect for Dustin May. I know Dustin Day was good in the past, okay? I've got to be non-biased. I'm going to say that Dustin May was good in the past, and if he returns for form with the Red Sox and helps them make that postseason run, it's going to be a good trade, even if they give up a top 5 prospect for it, because that's more worth it. And even if just getting him alone, even if he's not doing good this year, it's a good trade in theory. Getting him it's a good trade to get Dustin May. Getting Dustin May is a good thing. Getting any player is a good thing, but especially in theory, a trade for Dustin May is a good thing because he's a pitcher. He's not going to be terrible for you. He's not done good this year, but he's not going to be terrible, and that could remain to late season form, and he can help the Red Sox win. But in reality, they gave up a top 5 prospect, a guy that they got from the Giants trade with Rafael Devers for a guy who's been struggling this year. What are we doing, Red Sox? This is a D minus. Great trade for the Dodgers. They didn't need him. I'll give the Dodgers an A. Taj Bradley. They're getting Taj Bradley. Let's see. So they got Taj Bradley, Cam Rojas, and Rodon. Jace. They got a top 5 prospect. That's about what I expected. And Verland. And that's a great deal for the Twins. Giving up a guy that you're going to trade anyway because you're doing a fire sale and getting a top 5 prospect alone is good, but you also got a major league player too. That's good. And you give away Ty France too. To get Doval, Jesus Rodriguez. Okay, wait. This is also another thing. This is to get one of the better bullpen arms or starting arms or whatever. Jesus Rodriguez, Parks, Harbor, and Tristan Vierling. So, Rodriguez, Harbor, Vierling. Okay, number 19. That's not bad. Yeah, W trade for the Yankees. I give this a C minus for the Giants. Even though you want to maybe sell a little bit, you've been sort of selling the past few years. At least like keep on to maybe to make the postseason, or if you're not going to get anything, or at least negotiate a little better. And the Yankees gave up almost nothing for one of the better 3.12 ERA, one of the better guys. This is one of the best trade of the trade deadline. This is again one of the better bullpen arms in baseball. That's a good trade. Good trade. Griffin Jacks, all these Rays buying stuff makes no sense though. Good trade for the Cubs. I'm so disappointed that they Taj Bradley, is he good anymore? I don't know. Still would say that's a good. The Twins generally did pretty good. They they did pretty good. They had maybe 1 or 2 trades that I didn't like, but other than that, I mean, return to the Pirates for Taylor Rogers. Ivan Brethrow. Yeah, that's not that good. That's a bad trade for the Pirates. Good trade. Who got Taylor Rogers? Who got Taylor Rogers again? That's a good trade for the Cubs. They got Varland. I think I got something else. That's a good trade for the Blue Jays. I feel like the Blue Jays did pretty good. I give that like an A plus. Wait, Allen, Rodon, and Rojas. Yeah, giving up a top 5 guy for that. I think it's a good trade on both parts. I give them both an A. 4 young starter. Wait, here's the Griffin Jacks thing. Taj Bradley. Oh wait, the Twins got wait. The Royals acquired Mike Yastrzemski. Royals are they're not doing anything. I don't know why they think this is changing anything. They're not doing anything. Not a good trade. Rojas. What about the Griffin Jacks thing though? Oh, that's that. All they got is that for Griffin Jacks. Wait, Jesus Rodriguez. Yeah, that's a good trade for the Yankees. We released this guy? Huh. My Ozuna would have been fun to see somewhere else. 4th, Carlos De La Rosa. See, is he good? I don't think so. Nope. Mind nothing. Giants undersold. Yep. I give the Griffin Jacks. I feel like the Twins undersold on Griffin Jacks and one other guy. I don't know. It's crazy how many players they traded away. 33 million. I feel like that's good. I feel like that's good. They shed so much salary. That's good. How is that a fleece? Okay, I know this might sound like I'm a casual, but I feel like shedding money for a player who isn't good and getting a prospect too, I feel like, okay, it's not amazing because you're still paying 33 million. That's still a lot. And I feel like for this to really be a good trade, because maybe you could trade this guy later if you held on to him and he was still good for less, and the other team has to pay less money. Or maybe you could hold on to him because he's signed for like a long time until a future run. Who knows? Maybe he'll regain form. But but I think you just needed. But common sense is to trade him away, and it's not even like you're paying a lot. This is a lot, but I don't know if it's common to pay the majority. But they're not even paying the majority of the contract. You still shed over like 100 million. Like let's see, 100. Yeah, there's the Astros are still paying 60. You shed over 67 million. That's a lot. Carlos Correa isn't good. Okay, I feel like maybe you could say I've gotten more for what was I talking about? You could have gotten more for Correa or something like that. But no, he's not good anymore. He does provide value, which is why I think maybe they should have gotten a little bit more, which is why I think the Astros, this is not a terrible trade for the Astros because they got something of value that could be good. He's shown he can be good when he's healthy. But at face value, the Twins shedded off money for a guy that they didn't need, and the Astros are taking on a big contract, but they're trying to win now. I give it a B plus for both teams because I feel like the Astros got somebody. He's not very good right now, but he could be good, and you could keep him for a while. And he's not what he used to be, but he could be good at a position of need when you're trying to win now, and you did not have to give up any prospects, any big prospects, so that's good. You didn't have to shed the farm system. And the Twins, they got rid of somebody they were willing to get rid of anyway. No, nobody was going to take him, and they still ended up forcing the Astros to pay $67 million. They forced him to pay about. They still forced the Astros to pay about $70 million of the $103 million contract. So I think it's a B plus for both teams. The return is Double-A pitcher Ryan Gallagher and Sam Armstrong. Let's see where they are in the Cubs system. The Cubs, if they got all those guys without giving up anybody good, then that's really, really good. Gallagher, their 8th prospect. That's not bad for Willie Castro. I feel like that's an overpayment for the Cubs. He's okay, and also for the most part, I think this is a guy who fits into their team. They need infield depth. They have good hitters, but they just need that oomph at the end of their lineup. It's good depth for the postseason who can come up big in clutch moments and can fill up a roster spot. Somebody else to contribute and just any extra production to lead to their division chase with the Brewers is much needed. I feel like getting Willie Castro was a great trade for the Cubs, and I think getting a top 10 prospect is a great return for the Twins. I think I give this a A- for the Cubs, and I give it an A for the Twins. But who's the other guy that they gave up to? I did not see the returns for the other one. Sam Armstrong. Let's see, Sam Armstrong. Is he in there? Nope. Brewers acquire Shelby Miller. Shelby Miller. I think he was good a while ago. I feel like this is still too little too late for the Brewers. They should have done more to hold off the Cubs. They haven't really done much this deadline. But we'll see. 37 games. Oh, what? There's no way, right? Oh, yeah, he was bad last year for the Tigers, but how many? 37 games, and man, he's done good this year. He's done good. He has a 3.12 FIP. It's a very limited sample size, and I feel like this is kind of too little too late. It's kind of a nothing burger, but if he continues to pitch lights out, it could be a very under the radar move. For the moment, I give it like a B minus or a B for the Brewers. At the moment, I don't know the return yet, but it could very well turn into an A minus in the future. Now, I'm trying to see what they gave up. Scremshy, that's a nothing. Why are the Royals trying to buy? Why are the Carlos Correa is not good? You're paying for what he was. That's a good job dumping off salary. I mean, you're not going to be excited as a Twins fan trading away a fun player to watch for basically you don't get anything in return. But I feel like the Twins needed to do this a while ago. Their players probably even had more value last year. Wow, the Twins are going to be bad now. Let's see how good Matt Milewski is, or Matt Milewski from the Astros. He can't be that good, right? If he's like top 15, then I'll be shocked. Not in the top 30. That's what I expected. Still a decent trade. Is he good? I feel like the Rays just went all over the place, though. The Rays giving up stuff for other people. I just don't know the Hauser return trade yet, and I still don't know what are the Rays doing. The Griffin Jax deal. Okay, the Griffin Jax deal. Twins did a terrible job, but it was the end, so I give them slack. C plus job for the Twins. For the Rays, I don't know why you're getting Griffin Jax, but let me look at Griffin Jax stats. Griffin Jax. He still basically gave up nothing. 2 FIP? He's only wait. He's not. He's pitched 46 innings. He has a 2 FIP. What? What's the average whip? Is that a good whip? I don't know. Holy crap. Sorry for swearing. This is actually pretty good. What's his WAR? Negative .1. I feel like it's kind of a nothing burger trade, but again, he has been good in years past. Look at him last year. And how old is he? He is 30 years old. 41, but I got 41 gold. He could be a free agent in 28. So yeah, a few years of team control for a good guy. He has upside, but I don't think like he's good enough to where it's like, okay, this makes you a contender, because it's a very risky high upside, low reward thing. High reward thing because, he's been shaky this year and he's 30 years old, but he is still under contract for not that much until for 3 years, and you just gave up a promising young pitcher that's in the majors. I'll give them that. The Twins getting rid of Griffin Jax for a major league player who's young and could be promising and not just a forgotten prospect like these other guys are receiving, like the Carlos Correa deal. That is really impressive, but at the same time, you maybe could have gotten more like prospect stuff. But the thing is, it's still a decent player, and it's not like the Rays are losing sleep over Taj Bradley. They did a major league swap deal, and the Rays got the better deal, got the better player. But that's usually the case when sellers are selling. And to get major league players, I'm actually gonna give it a B minus for the Rays, because even though if I looked on this on paper, not the team background, I would say the Rays are doing good, like good trade. But they're selling and they're buying. I don't know what they're doing. On paper, it's a good trade. They got the better major league player for Taj Bradley, but like, come on, like you did not need to get Jax. So who's Jonathan Quintos? This guy's kind of gave up too much for him. Ash, I know he's not in our top 30, but yeah, I don't like this trade for the Tigers. You did not need him. He can make you worse. I give it a D plus, and for the Orioles, I give it a B minus. It's not going to do much for you, but it's getting rid of a bad arm. Jordan Montgomery. Whoa, wait. Oh, we got this guy too. For a Dominican League guy. So the White Sox got Curtis. Hauser's good, right? Yeah, he's been good this year. I feel like he could be kind of a fluky guy. Maybe not the greatest player. I feel like he's just having a one-off year. But again, this is for a one-year postseason push. So if you got this for good value, then that's amazing by the Rays. But if you gave up a bunch, like a bat, really good stuff, then no. What are you doing, Rays? Are you buying or selling? I'm always gonna rank the Rays trade. It's a little worse because are they buying or selling? Like what? They don't have a direction. Now, who do they give up? Curtis Mead. I feel like I recognize that name. Curtis Mead, Ben Peoples, and Duncan Davitt. He's not even in their top 50. Okay, unless they are. Did they already transfer them? No, they didn't, right? Three non-top 30 pro. That's a terrible job selling by the White Sox. How many years? He's a free agent, but the Pirates got a good deal for David Bender. I know Hauser's not as good as Bender, and he's kind of, it might be fluky, but I didn't put this in. But like, I know it might be a bit fluky, and he's not as good as David Bender, but not getting a single top 30 prospect for that. That's like a D minus by the Whites. I'll give it a D by the White Sox. Very bad job at the trades. And for the Rays, I'll give it a B. You got somebody good at low value, but I still don't know if you're buying or selling or not. I'll bump it up to a B plus. No, I'll give it a B. Why would you trade away the other guys then? Look at this again. Yep, that's it. Okay, now Jordan. I need to look at Jordan Montgomery's stats. Remember Jordan Zimmerman? He was good for a while. He's worse this year, but he's always gonna be like. Never mind. I was gonna say he's always gonna be a solid arm for you, but he's imploded this year. But if he regains form, he's a monster. If he regains form, you know that's gonna be that's gonna be maybe the trade of the trade deadline if he regains form, because Montgomery at his full form is a number 2 or 3 pitcher on any team that doesn't have two aces. He's the prototypical number 3 pitcher if he's good. This could be a very high upside trade. And okay, usually when you are getting like two major league players in a non-blockbuster deal, the guy to get along with the good guy, the Shelby Miller guy, is like somebody super crappy. You get Jordan Montgomery too. That's a good deal at face value. Now, I will say for the Brewers, this is kind of disappointing. All you do for your deadline, you get two struggling guys who are injury prone. But yeah, it all depends with how much they give up for him.